Yo, what's up, guys? How's it hanging? How's it going? I'm here today to give you some of my top tips for new players coming to the Formula One Games series. Obviously, we know Formula One 2022 is going to be released probably around July, but I've decided to get into the F1 games a little bit earlier to get me ready for 2022 because I'll probably bring you quite a bit of content to do with that game as I've been diving into F1. It's been so fun to feel like I can learn a game again. I mean, slightly away from that PUBG experience. So I thought I have spent a couple weeks now being absolutely awful at the game and I wanted to get better, and I'm going to give you my tips to get better quickly and get you a bit more up to speed and a slightly bit more competitive rather than just spinning around in circles, which is what I did for my first day. So here's some of my top tips. One of the most important things in Formula One and all racing games is the setup of the car. But before we get there, we're going to need the setup of the game. So we'll press start. We're going to go to settings, and this is one of the biggest things for me is the assists. Now the assists can change the game dramatically from a very hardcore experience or a very arcadey casual experience. And when you start out, you're probably going to want it to be a bit more arcadey and then work your way towards that hardcore, because once you get to the hardcore, you will be able to shave seconds off your lap time simply because of the assist will slightly slow you down, even though they'll keep you facing straight, just because of that's how the game works. So here's mine. I have it quite custom set up. Now you can go through presets of these from easy to obviously the more hardcore simulation. So let's go through some of mine. Steering assist obviously off. You always want a full control of your car. Braking assist I have off. I recommend having this as off or low even as a beginner, because having the game brake for you, you're not going to learn a thing about racing because the game's pretty much going to be playing for you, and that's not good. Now the anti-lock brakes, this is definitely worth having on for a new beginner. I still have it on because I'm a bit of a clown and I just will lock up everywhere. Traction control. Now this is a biggie. Now as a beginner on your day one, make sure you have this on. This will keep your car just facing in a straight line, coming out of corners, and you won't just spin out because you're getting on the revs too high. So have this on. I have it as off for now because I've got used to it. But definitely in my first few days, I had it on. I was good. I was comfortable. Then switched it down to medium, and I was spinning out somewhat, but I got used to that. And now I've got it to off, and I rarely spin, but of course still do make mistakes. I'm not a professional. The racing line, I have this set to corners only. I'd really recommend just corners only because realistically, as long as you're not completely a novice to the racing genre, you will know where to go on a track to get a general good racing line. And this will only bring up the racing line on those corners, telling you to speed up, slow down, and what line to take. So I still have this on just because I'm not completely comfortable with how much I can push, but it gives you a better feeling if you go, actually, I can get through that quicker, and helps you learn the track a hell of a lot faster too. I have it on 3D. You can have this 2D, 3D. That's completely personal preference. Gearbox. Now, this is a big one. I don't actually drive a manual car IRL. I don't know how to drive a car manual IRL, so you can rip me in the comments below. Make sure you absolutely do. For me, I have it automatic. However, I am learning currently how to do manual, and I was shaving some time off my automatic lap. So there's definitely a lot of time to be gained if you can get used to the manual side of the game. However, if you're on controller, it's an awful lot of button presses and can be quite tricky if you don't have a controller which has paddles on the back. Pit assist and pit release assist, these are for your longer races, longer than 5 lap races, i.e. a 25%, 50% or a full race. These I leave on. You won't lose any lap time. However, you can turn these off if you want a more immersive experience when you're playing F1 and you can make some mistakes even in the pit lane and DNF. Yeah, that's happened a few times to me. ERS assist, I have this off. This basically gives you the ability to use the battery at your own disposal. If you're completely new, you can have this on and it will use the battery pretty conservatively, but I like to have it off so I know when I want to make an attack on an opponent and I make a lunge, I can definitely use this to gain those few extra, I say seconds, tenths of a second, which can make the difference between getting around the corner before them or crashing to the side of them when you're making a dive. Now, DRS assist, I have this on. There is no reason to turn it off. Again, You can have it off if you like the more immersive experience, but for me, I like to have it on. It just makes it on. It's simple, and you don't have to worry about pressing another button press. Although, if you do, it's just pressing the button Y, and when you go through the DRS detection zone, if you have it available, and then as soon as you start braking, it will close the DRS. So there's nothing else to do than pressing one button. But why do you have to if it will do it automatically for you? So these are my assists. Let's get into how we're going to set up the car, because obviously this can change quite a bit. Alright, so once you're in the car and you're on a time trial, you can hit X to go to session info, and then this is going to bring you to the presets. There's going to be 5 presets, one for maximum downforce, slightly less, balance, more top speed, and then maximum top speed. So obviously downforce, you're going to have cornering better, but you're going to be slower on the straights. Top speed, fast on the straights, slower in the corners. So it depends what sort of a track it is, that's what setup you want. And for a newbie, that can be quite daunting. So the balance default will be absolutely fine for a majority of the tracks that aren't quite so bad. Monaco, stick on the downforce. It's Monaco. Nobody's going fast around Monaco. Now, there is some cheats you can do for this, and that is steal some of the setups from your friends. If you've got friends that play the game already and maybe they're setting better lap times than you, you can steal their setups by literally hitting their name and going load setups. And if you have no friends, you can still use some of the leaderboards of people who've got various setups on there that they've used for their lap time. So if they can do it, surely you can too. No, you won't, because you've got to turn the assists off, because trust me, it's absolutely ridiculous out there. These guys' lap times are insane. So don't even think about coming close to them. I don't come close to them. But then again, I'm still a rookie, but I've learned quite a lot in my 2 weeks of playing. I just wanted to give some of that knowledge so you can jump in straight away and not have to ask everybody else like I did to try and get up to speed, because it was quite embarrassing. And I made a lot of... I can't say the word, a lot of mess ups. A lot of mess ups. But basically, that's what you want to do. So you can just stick it on balanced. If you've got something to assist on, you're not going to notice it too much. It will just keep your car in the facing the right way, and you should have a good time around the track. A track that I would recommend is Bahrain to get used to it. It's got a bunch of low speed and high speed corners to help you really get a good feel for the game. And it's a very forgiving track. If you go off, you're not going to slam into the barrier and feel like you've messed up completely. So there's a little bit of run-off room for you there. So definitely a good track to get started with. Now we've got the setups done, let's go for a flying lap around Bahrain. And let's see how we do with this setup and how the car really reacts. Because this is where you can really do a lot of your trial and error. If you can get away with more downforce or less downforce, more speed. And basically play around with your settings. Maybe you're a little bit better than I was when I first started, and you want to turn that traction control straight down to get used to it. Maybe you're more of a veteran in racing games and you're just coming into the F1 series from other racing games. So let's go for a flying lap around Bahrain. We're very slow out of there. I will be slow on this lap, 100%. Never going to beat my personal best, but we'll give it everything we've got. Very wide. Taking the curb, which is always risky. You really have to wait to get on the power when you're running traction control off. Very wide there. Now this is always a fun corner. A little bit on the brakes. And you just power around all the way. A lot of fun in that corner. One of my favorites actually in the game. Then we'll put it across the line for a 1:28.2, which is absolutely, it's pretty shocking. It's pretty shocking. But that is the way to basically get used to your assist. And it's a great little track because it's got quite a few little sections that aren't easy. But you'll definitely get a better feel for the game than some of the other tracks, like maybe Austria is a bit of a basic track, a very easy track. But Bahrain's very forgiving. So definitely give it a shot. that'll do it for this one. This is just some tips for you guys starting out in F1. If you want to see more F1 videos in the future, what do you want to see in those F1 videos? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you hit the like button. You know, come on, please. And then, you know, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me a lot. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.